right. And we're live. I legit thought like, oh, are we going live? Yeah, we're going live. I should have gone live a while back. Yeah, 5 minutes ago. But I was like, the time caught up to me. It was like 1 minute. It was 3 o'clock. No, 1 minute. It was like 1:30. The next minute, it's like 3:29 or something. And I'm like, also, quite a bit is going on. Like Angelo Nacios was like listed a premiere for a video. Touching on a similar subject, Benabel Wen tweeted about this subject. Really more tarot consumption, but I mean, it's all the same beast. Let me let my dog in the room because that's how it is here. Come on, Bean. Here. I'm getting your bed. Here. There you go. Okay. Hello, Nia the Nia. Hello, Ola K. Hello, Thomas Ladd. Hello, Maria. Do you remember me? I don't think so. I think so. I'm not sure. Hello, Seaside Terror. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Girl, we got stuff to talk about. We got the tea. We got not really tea. It's not really drama. It's more like a reevaluation. Okay. Because yeah, hello, Benabel. Girl, we gon' live react to your tweets, Benabel. I don't know if I think I can share my screen here if I know how to do it. Oh, come on to it. There we go. Okay. So yeah. Let's see here. Just making sure we have everything here. I also have the consuming the tarot from the Cult of Tarot forum, which finally I found a forum. There's discourse. There's discourse here. I kind of remember you, Thomas. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, from Scotland. Yeah, I think. You're girl, a lot of people come through these live streams, so it's really hard to keep track of everyone. So, but you're familiar. You're familiar. I'll give you that. Hello, Tiny Trinkets Tarot, Aaron92, Susan of Light and Shadow, Stacy H. Who else is here? If I missed you, if I didn't get your comment, if I didn't notice you, I'm sorry, but you know, this is very unorganized, far more unorganized than I usually This is a topic that I'm gonna ramble about, really ramble. I don't have like collected thoughts. I don't have really, as I do compared to like my previous live chats where I talk about a certain topic in terms of tarot. But here we're just gonna really, I thought Angelo Nacios's Nacios, yeah, his video would have been premiering and like, we could live react to it and his discourse on it. But I guess we can, react to this and read this out loud. If you guys want to see this, if you guys want to read what I'm reading, you can read this here. Paste. Let's see here. So yeah, if you guys want to read up by yourselves and you don't want me to read it out loud because you don't like that, then there's that. Here is Benabel Wen's Twitter thread. I'm not all on it with Twitter, but so yeah. Thomas, I'm a spiritual ghost coming to haunt you. If you're someone that I think I should have blocked, then I will for sure block you. Thomas, but no. If I left you unblocked, I left you unblocked for a reason. But yeah, let's see. Okay, so yeah, let's read this up here. Read up on this thread here. I've just barely heard of this forum just right now. This is like all happened right now today. I was going to talk about the tarot market, knockoff tarots, why some people are straight up legit knowingly buying knockoffs, and like it's like, girl, like what? Okay. Like I guess we're just going to be okay with that. But anyways, yes, absolutely. If you guys have your own 2 cents to do that. So yeah. So wait, what is this? It's founder Joan Marie. Okay, so yeah, so this is the founder then. Okay, so we're gonna read this out. Should I have it on? Wait, what is this? Cookies? Okay, I don't care. Okay, so I'm gonna read this out loud. If you guys want to read it, The link is right there. So yeah. Okay, so here we go. People get interested in the tarot for lots of reasons. People enjoy the tarot in lots of ways. I believe that all of them are valid, of course. I mean, it's their own personal path, of course, you know? Like, what are we going to do? Break into their homes and tell them how to do their tarot the right way? But moving on. I wonder, though, if anyone else has seen a really strong trend in recent years of growing dominance of the business side of tarot, or what you could call the commercialization of it, while the study and craft seem to have taken a back seat. Mama, it's called capitalism. I'm just kidding. I'm like not like that like economically like well versed, but I can say though I agree with the sentiment. Like the idea of like the incessant, you know, business side of tarot is, you know, just, you know, it's really noticeable. It's you know, which I mean, on one hand, it's like we're getting what I love from it. I think the best part of it is that we're getting like a resurgence of decks that are going out of print, like Japaritse. You know, for even though I don't like the deck, I'm happy that, you know, even though like nearly went out of print, a lot of people said like, hey, we will buy like we want it still in print, and they did another print run. You know, the Gil Tarot came back. What's another one? I can't think of another one. Greenwood Tarot is coming back. The Intuitive Tarot by Scylla Conway, that one came back. You know, a lot of that is because of there's a growing market for it. But unfortunately, on the other hand, is that as we see with capitalism, usually I feel, is that we get like how we see like with Disney movies, not Disney movies, Marvel movies particularly. But yeah, where there's no like interesting things. Like the last new interesting thing that Marvel did was, in my opinion, WandaVision, and even then they still relied on the formula that they know and made like the last few episodes very Marvel-esque that we know, you know, just to compare to media there, which that is another discussion that I'm going to say, like tarot as a piece of media compared to like what it actually is, a divination tool in today's terms. Yeah, Marvel movies are technically Disney. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And how well, and also how Disney is just like owning everything, which I feel like that isn't an issue with tarot. I feel like tarot publications are more diverse. I don't think there's really like, if you look at who owns US Games, who owns Weiser, who owns Llewellyn, you know, are they like subsidy, or are they their own little things, you know? Let's see. Hello, Tarot Oracle. Hello, Tarot Apple. Hello, everyone that's coming in. Hello, Joey Luna. So yeah, I hope you got my last two messages. I don't know what two messages. No, your whiteboard is clear. You must have all your deals on your books this week. Surprisingly, like all those books I think that I wrote on there, I probably bought other things, like books that I did not intend to buy. So yeah. Wow, you have never blocked me. That last time I was on here, it hit it. You were showing me all your books. I can't remember what books, but anyways, yeah, I probably was recommending books to you. But anyways, aside from that, I'm getting distracted. Like I said, this is very unfocused here. Let's get back to this reading here. So again, so I've said this in a post on my community tab where I'm like, you know what, tarot, a lot of tarot decks are coming out like that remind me of like the ridiculous NFT art. I don't think you can really call them art, you know, those hideous monkeys and lions drawing. I don't know. And NFTs as an idea is just really fucking weird. I'm like, why are people putting their money in that? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. No, thank you. But you know, I see like all these different variations of the Rider-Waite-Smith and being presented to us and advertised to us as something groundbreaking and new, and it's like, honey, not really. You know, where people are like the blushing fool, it doesn't matter. You know, which I have like, I think I have, I don't know how, I say as I have like 6 different Rider-Waite-Smith copies. Like I have like the Centennial in a tin. I have the plastic Rider-Waite-Smith. I have the A.G. Mueller one, this one right here. I have the you know, all that. But then there's also all these other ones with like different color tones, different color palettes, different. I'm like, it's the same. It's the same to me. There's nothing new. There's no freshness. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing original, really. And even then, people are saying like, it's not Rider-Waite Smith, but it totally is based on the system. Hello, Lucy E. Let's see. I don't know who else is here. So yeah, half the decks on Kickstarter are just to make a couple of bucks. Almost no effort in them. Absolutely. And that's what I think of with even like, well, speaking of Disney, the Disney Villains deck, the Alice Tarot. There's, oh my God, the number of Alice Tarot. They'll give Alice Tarot decks, Alice in Wonderland Tarot decks, the benefit of the doubt that, you know, the benefit that for the most part, they all look pretty different from each other compared to like Baba Studios, that really old vintage yellow one and that's in a tin now. The Tarot in Wonderland, the Alice in Tarot Land, like all those look different, but they all are under the same theme of Alice in Wonderland, which I'm not really a big fan of, but again, I'll applaud it for its, you know, creativity in that sense. Let's see. Long. Let's see. I backed like 47 campaigns on Kickstarter, and lately it's fallen flat. Yeah, we'll take a gander. We'll take a gander. We'll be looking at the decks here. I had this idea of creating NFTs of SKT Revelations art, where it becomes a virtual animated 3D a place you walk in to the card, and then realize that was too ambitious. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like I said, I know very little of NFTs, but what I've seen of NFTs, it's not very inspiring. But if it's something like this, I mean, okay. But I mean, also like there's also different aspects of it, like the ecological impact of NFTs, which that's another part of overconsumption and capitalist tarot market, whatever, you know. So yeah, but yeah, let's see. Okay, we're kind of went off a tangent from reading the Consuming the Tarot forum, from the Cult of Tarot forum post. So yeah, let's see. What's the next part on here? Okay, let's see. Did I read this right? I wonder if anyone else has seen a really strong trend in recent years of the growing dominance of the business. Okay, yeah. Or what you would call the commercialization of it, while the study and craft seem to have taken a back seat. And this is one thing that I've noticed. So a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of something to look forward to that I'm working on here. I'm probably going to do 2 videos on this. And that is, so recently, Katie Flowers, we love her, we stan. She did a tag called, you know, only 10 decks. And so what I'm doing is essentially finding all those videos. And now I'm going to go to Instagram and see who doesn't have YouTube channels and see who posted what there, and comparing and calculating and tallying up all the decks that were mentioned in everyone's top 10s. Of course, it's not 100% accurate or, you know, fully there, but it's just a nice little peek. And what I'm seeing so far is interesting, to say the least. One deck in particular, I was like, oh, she's dominating. But I'm also going to look at 5 years back, I think, if not even longer before that. I think Kelly Bear did a tag called Only 5 Decks. And so I'm going to also compare just decks from that as well and see what, you know, what they've done, how the decks differ from back then to now. And I'd have to see that. I'd also probably do Natalia's Council of 7 and maybe Kelly Van Trithen's Stories. What's it called? Pieces of My Soul. I've done that one. And yeah. And compare those to see what, you know, how it's different, because, you know, the term is different. So yeah. But anyways, Zach is going all social scientist on us, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't talk about, you know, in the tarot, that, you know, all that. But moving on. Let's see. I asked this question, going back to Joan Marie and Consuming the Tarot post. I asked this question fully aware that I am part of the problem. Me too. Raise your hand if you're part of the problem. Put a little emoji of a hand if you're part of the problem. Let's see. I have nothing at all against making a side hustle out of something they love, and I'm in no way questioning anyone's motives. Of course, it's like you have to be compensated for your work. In fact, one of my main motivations in creating the Cult of Tarot forum was to give tarot artists all kinds, artists of all kinds. Okay, yeah, was to give tarot artists of all kinds, deck creators, writers, readers, reviewers, etc., a place where they could shamelessly, literally without shame, promote themselves to an audience of tarot lovers. As a deck creator myself, I have found it difficult to reach the people I wanted to with my work without being made to feel like some kind of criminal. How dare I promote my tarot-focused work to a tarot-focused audience is how I was made to feel by various forums and online groups. So, of course, this is talking about, I believe, who was it? I remember Lucy Prata, Lucy E here in the chat. We were talking about this way back when we first started like chatting. She talked about the idea of money shadows and the hesitation that people have with selling their decks. A lot of people don't really make a profit from like making like publishing a mass market. Yes, you, Lucy. Hello to Maya Spirit. Let's see. So we come to the Tigers Abyss to talk about all the things that no one wants to talk about. I mean, it's all a matter of like trying to make it interesting and engaging, I feel. But moving on. Let's see. Oh, yes. I try to get my deck secondhand because it's better for the environment. Then a lot of people try to sell you knockoffs at full price. You need to really verify the authenticity. We're going to get into that, Maria. Yes, there we go. Yeah, a few years back, the witch community was also talking about money shadows. Yeah, like valuing your stuff. But again, it's like there's a balance there. Hello, Rachel, to everybody. Say hello to Rachel Days. She's literally keeping this channel alive. Let's be real. So yeah, let's see. And there's 2 other people, who support me on Patreon, so yeah. But moving on. So where was I? Right. I'm getting distracted here. Hello, Candy Soul and Soil. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, about what Maria mentions. Someone take a note of that. Someone save that. So yeah. So again, it's like, okay, so yeah, there's a balance between, having, to value your work, but then also trying not to be super like making profit the main goal, but of course it's, again, compensation again is really the idea here. Again, valuing your work, the work that one puts into making a deck, because a lot of, until recently, our deck creators now, like I feel this is just something on the outside looking in. I don't know the numbers on this. A lot of them don't really talk about how much they make in terms of publishing a deck, whether that be self-publishing or mass market. I think Benabal Wen shared this in her video. But for the most part, only recently I feel that indie publishers, indie deck creators are getting compensated for their decks. Like Dust to Onyx was very open about like what it was like. Her first deck she sold at a loss, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because of how expensive it was to produce. And so that's why she hijacked the price. Well, I don't want to say hijacked because that sounds terrible. She raised the price to what she values it at, for the work that she put in. And you know what? Fair enough. Same with Baba Studios. That's why these decks are getting more and more expensive. It's because they were really making these decks at a loss. But again, is it making it at a loss or, making these decks for profit? There are some decks that, like I said, like I think who was it in the chat that just said, like, again, a lot of the new decks coming out really aren't like awe-inspiring or anything new. I'm still waiting for Ocean Dry to come out. Where is it? Where is Ocean Dry? Moving on, though. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so continuing the post here. I found that attitude ludicrous. My thinking was, why put up a wall between creators and collectors? Surely there is a space for everyone. So I tried to create a place where people could do that, could freely share their work, their perspectives on tarot. And I thought the way to do that was to build a dedicated audience for it with a forum. I imagine people gathering to have all sorts of tarot-related discussions, people who would also be open to those promoting their work and sharing their special interests in the tarot. It sort of worked out. Sort of. It sort of worked. Sort of. Yeah. But there was a problem. I see it not just on my forum, but all over the internet. Full disclosure, I have not personally scoured the entire internet for tarot discussion sites. You may likely have a very different perspective from mine, but here is what I'm seeing. People who have things to promote, decks especially, are really mostly interested in only that, getting people to their Kickstarters, Etsy shops, and online stores. I get it. There are only so many hours in a day. I know personally just how competitive and difficult it is, with dozens of new decks coming out every month, to bring any awareness at all to your project. You may be familiar with a monthly publication I did, October 2020 to October 2021, World of Decks News. I offered artists a chance to promote their work. I did this for free. Raw. Let me tell you, I only did one of those types of videos. Tarot Oracle does it all the time. Does I think he does it monthly, but even then I can tell just checking all the sites, it takes a lot out of you to do that. Let's see, I gave it up for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it was much harder to do than I thought it would be due to the sheer volume of new decks coming out every month. What I originally thought I could throw together in a few hours per month was taking days. Absolutely. You have to passively take notes of oh, this is new. Oh, this is new. And by the time you upload the video or you make the post or whatever, I'm pretty sure 20 new decks were announced and are coming out. And it's what's the point? Sorry, everybody. It just went from being fun and interesting and personally rewarding, to tell the savvy truth, to being a gigantic pain in the ass that I dreaded. Absolutely. Yeah, it's no fun when that's why, I'm not going to do videos like that a lot. I've only done it once so far, and it was okay. Yeah. So after the 1 year of putting out a free and really informative and well-made newsletter, if I do say so myself, I had to give it up. Secondly, I just couldn't help but sense that none of this was really about tarot anymore. It was pure commerce. I felt that for a lot of reasons I will explain. I mean, girl, if it's at this point, it's pure commerce, then you should be compensated. You should, girl, it's literally just, I guess, a small fee. I don't know. What would that be? $1, $5 to advertise your space on it, we see this in grocery stores where the shelves are literally a visual representation of the advertising battlefield that cereals and foods and all that, cereals, again, all the kids cereals try to go to the bottom shelves where kids can see them. If they're there, kids are more likely to get them and to be like, Mom, I want this, and that's how it works, which is very kind of predatory to kids. Kind of. And so tarot would that would kind of lead to something like this, to something like that. If we're doing hey, I have this platform here, if you want to promote it on here, or if you want me to mention it and all that, then that would also be kind of gatekeeping and limiting people from being able to promote their work. Because again, the point of making a tarot deck isn't to make money, I feel, because it is a spiritual tool, if that makes sense. Secondly, I just couldn't help but sense that none of this was really about tarot. Oh yeah, okay, I already read that. And then lovely little Simpsons meme here. You've changed, man. It used to be about the cards, and well, which it's kind of weird. It's still about the cards. People want the cards. It's more I don't know. I think a different word would be best used there, instead of you've changed, man. It used to be about the music. It's well, it's not about the cards, because it is about the cards. People want to buy the cards. People want to buy, again, I call it the pretty picture syndrome. I get that all the time. It's oh, I see this pretty new thing, this shiny new thing. I want it. But again, moving on. I ask you now, am I the only one who's noticed a major drop in real in-depth discussion about tarot online anywhere, coinciding with the massive rise in tarot-related consumerism? I have to agree. That's why I kind of stopped doing hauls, and that's why I'm starting to remove those types of videos. I'm still doing walkthroughs when I can, but nowadays, like I'm trying to do more videos sort of like this, sort of more with my previous videos, like the foundations of a tarot meaning, you know, what makes the tarot a tarot deck, you know, like the anatomy of the tarot, how I just like broke that down. I'm like, I'm currently debating whether to do a video on gender and feminism in the tarot, as explained through like the archetypes of the empress and the emperor, with the magician and the high priestess as well, with the feminine and the masculine, and men and women and representation, and you know, discussing all that. And like, because I've been reading this book, where did I put it, it's all the way over there. But again, no, and I'm like debating whether to have it, you know, as a standalone, you know, not a standalone, yeah, a standalone like live chat, how I'm doing this, or save it for my tarot series. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna leave it in that. But anyways, because again, it's there's a lot of videos that I would like to, you know, that talk about this. But moving on though, you know, it's yeah. But anyways, I'm glad that I'm kind of shifting away from like, here's a new deck or whatever, you know, and I'm moving more to the books. But it's also kind of like, okay, like I'm buying too many books to be able to read. Let's slow it down here. But moving on. There are just so many new ways to communicate online these days. There are some serious topics being discussed, but they all seem to be behind a paywall now in the forms of webinars and online courses. But just like deck creators, these efforts require access to an audience of people engaged in interest in the tarot. So yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, like how serious are people do it? It's sort of like with the readings, you know, if I do free live readings, it brings in a type of question, you know, the types of people that come in usually ask a certain type of question versus those who pay or donate, you know, almost knocked that over. You know, you see that there, it's a similar thing there. But again, when you put a price tag on things, that also like what's gonna sell, and what haven't we already talked about? I think it was Mary Grace Farron, right? Is that her name on here? Where she always says like, there's nothing more boring sounding than a tarot book. And I'm like, that's very true. It's like, sometimes it's like, yeah, I get it. You're saying the same thing that, you know, Rachel Pollack in 78 Degrees of Wisdom said already. So, you know, sometimes it feels like that, or it's like, yeah, okay, I got it, you know, let's offer me something new. And this is why like workbooks are like more interesting to me. Older books, you know, that, you know, not a lot of people, you know about, are piquing my interest. But yeah, and like I'm like want to like start just full on doing a deep dive into Tarot of the Spirit and Tarot of the Holy Light finally, which I've done the introductions, but you know, it's like, I'm not sure how to do that, whether to integrate it with my main big tarot series, I'm not sure. But anyways, moving on. Okay, so yeah, what I'm getting at in continuing with the post, what I'm getting at in my mixed up way here is that this audience, this community, has to a very large extent gone silent, simply consuming and not participating in any way other than with their credit cards and PayPal accounts, or just retreating altogether. I mean, back in the day, not back in the day, this wasn't back in the day, I think this was a year ago. Who was it? Someone made a post on Facebook discussing and sharing the same sentiments here, with like overconsumption and feeling overwhelmed with their collection and feeling like it's getting too much. It's getting too much for me. I'm definitely going to do another purge of my deck soon. It's very interesting how we say that, deck purge. You know, like it's very like, again, similar to eating for some reason. That's going to bring up a whole nother discussion. But the point is that when this person said this, I can't remember who it was. Someone will probably say, oh yeah, so-and-so. But yeah, like a year ago. Yeah, no, I can't remember what his name was, but he posted it on a Facebook group. And you know, a lot of people like felt attacked, like a lot of collectors felt attacked, and a lot of people like started commenting and discussing and bringing this up. And I've seen a lot of people kind of like have a lot of strong emotional connection to their collections and to consuming tarot. And when that felt attacked, like they were like, well, if I didn't have this collection, I wouldn't have gotten to know everyone. But it's like, then that means like, okay, if tarot were to disappear entirely and that, or tarot was to never exist, what, and you guys still knew each other, what would you guys talk about other than tarot? You know, how would you guys still be quote unquote online friends? You know, uh, but anyways, uh, let's see. I do realize I've had a hand, however small, in aiding the situation, and I'm here to take my lumps over it. I know I've made mistakes, and I regret some of them, but not all. Truth be told, who is this picture? He looks like a discount Anthony Hopkins. Who is this? Someone. This goes to show my naivete, my millennial Gen Z cusp is jumping out here, that I do not know this man in this picture holding up a glass of, I don't know what that is. It's not water, that's for sure. Let's see. Okay, this whole subject really begs another question, which is, wait. I'm sure these are song lyrics that she just wrote in this. I know I've made mistakes part. But yeah, I mean, I also too, you know, like I said, when I do walkthroughs, when we do hauls, when we do you know, tarot news and deck, you know, new things that are coming out, you know, it's fun and it's easy content to make, uh because again, videos like this would require, like, again, some thought, a script, and you know, some editing, some fact checking, so yeah, you know, I can see why a lot of people don't want to do it, and that's why, you know, VRs also do really great as well. But moving on, continuing with the post, this whole subject really begs another question, which is, how are people using tarot in the year 2022? I think that's the question. How are you using it? You know, I'm really like observing this, and I'm like thinking of like the idea of like how people, I feel like people really hyper focus or don't get past the tarot as it is in order as it comes out in the box. I don't know. Just something I'm like picking up on. I don't know. But yeah, our in-depth online discussion simply passe. Has everything interesting already been said? Is the zeitgeist now the hit and run style of Instagram, TikTok, and the like to feed the bottomless consumer appetite? I mean, there was a post, an article that I read, and I shared it, and I've talked about it before. I'm not sure if I talked about it here in the past, um, but I talked about it in, oh my gosh, what's it called? I have no idea. But there's an article. It's essentially a book review on, I think it's like the history of stuff, or like consuming stuff or buying stuff, and it goes into like the mentality of like, you know, people who overbuy, and people who, and the consumption culture that we have in the day-to-day life here, at least here in the US. I'm not sure how global this sense of consumption is. Um, so yeah, but again, I'm trying to remember what the post is. If I can find it, I'll share it. But it is essentially just a book review and discussing like the topics that are in that book. But yeah, okay. There's a digital ton of tarot stuff out there on these and other platforms. There are more people using tarot than ever before in the history of it. I know that people still use it. I know that people still use it in their personal lives for all the same reasons they never did. But it feels sometimes that the main thing I see online is people using tarot for clout or getting followers, selling stuff. This is the zeitgeist. I do not disparage it. It is reality. I must ask though, has something important and fundamental about how we share our craft been lost along the way? I think when we're seeing and we're asking these questions, I think this is when we're finally going to start going back into the depth of the tarot. I mean, I joke, I made a little meme on my community post. The triggering words, tarot hoarder. Boo. Let's see. The article Jessica. Wait, what? No, not Jessica Starr. It was a book review. It was on, oh my gosh, what's it called? I can't remember, but I've shared it with you guys, I think. I don't know. About the US. Well, yeah, it's because it's very important to clarify, like, the US centric conversation, you know. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's different for Europe, I don't think you see a television series called Hoarders in the UK, do you? You know? um, but yeah, but again, here going for clout, gaining followers, selling stuff. This is where I see like why you see now bots putting the promote it on this thing or whatever on your Instagram on my Instagram posts or whatever. And I'm like, okay, report as spam, move along. You know, we have yet to see sponsorships. I've only seen one sponsorship, two, two sponsors, two sponsorships on a tarot focused channel that I know of. And again, it's like I said, but it's starting, it's moving. I don't know how, I don't know, I don't know when, I don't know how, but it might get there. But again, really something to be, thinking about, um, especially with like, capitalizing on spiritual tools, spiritual craft, going into depth on something that, it's more than just owning a deck. I've said it in the past, and I've said it, that work collecting the tarot is not working with the tarot. Like, I feel like it's such a simple and obvious and blatant thing, but I feel like it has to be said out loud for people to like realize it, connect the dots. uh, Collecting tarot is not working with the tarot. I do seriously find it a pity, continuing with the post here, okay, that so few artists and others are refused to use the term content creators. That's another discussion. Yeah. Initiate or participate in online discussions outside of promoting themselves, or they only start their own discussions on their own platforms and refuse to chime in on anyone else's. It's as if nobody wants to risk sharing their own perceived clout by adding to or starting an interesting discussion on someone else's website or platform, preferring to only play to their own devoted audiences. The bubbles, the echo chambers, honey. It's the echo chambers, okay? Again, like, when I started with tarot, there really wasn't anything like that fully going on into like tarot. Like, I don't know, like, I guess it goes into like educational content in terms of tarot. I think there's like a drop off in there. And again, it's like, again, adding to the discourse. It's adding like, there's a hesitation to have critiques or a negative opinion, which some opinions though maybe should be left unsaid, which, like, I believe it was this great channel that I just subscribed to. I believe his name is Sylvan's Deadly Sins, I think, right? Is that his name? I've loved his channel so far. Really new to his channel, but I'm excited. Yes. And another one just uploaded 2 videos yesterday and today. I think her name is Sorsha Soaring, I believe. I just like saw her video. I'm like, yes. She what she's like promoting, like sharing on there, I'm like, oh, this is kind of something that we haven't really talked about in tarot, or at least on tarot tube. I would like to see more of this. And then I subscribed. Hopefully we'll see, but not to put pressure on her. Yeah, as a spatial rising, yeah, we also have to be careful. Yeah, hoarding is a mental health disorder. Yeah, but I think it can also be like, I guess it could also be on a spectrum, I guess. Like, there are those extreme cases, and there are some more that are more, I think with extreme hoarding, it's like it's more compulsive. I think that's the matter of it, like how, because again, like, hoarding in itself, it's like there's like, it's a Butterfingers wrapper, like, and you still can't let go of it. It's that there, but here it's only limited to tarot. Like, like when I'm doing this only 10 tarot decks, you have no idea how many people cheated or voiced their, oh my god, it's so hard, it's so hard. I literally just, here's my 10. I know for sure that these are the 10 that I can work with. And which really made me think of like, okay. And I think that's the issue here. I think that's the issue. When you say the only 10 decks, it makes you realize how irrelevant in a way and how unnecessary the rest of the decks are. So I think a lot of people might get scared of that, and be like, I bought all these decks, oh my god, and they're like not even like worthy of being in 10, or maybe 20, but still the rule is 10. Moving on. Let's see. I'm going to leave this here as I think I have opened several cans of worms already. You see here, honey, we gotta open them can of worms. You know why? Wait, who be canning worms? First of all, who's out here canning worms? I'm interested in your views. I realize I might have raised a few hackles, and to some I may sound hypocritical, but I'm trying to learn and understand current trends and to improve. Also, I don't think I'm the only one wondering about these things. If tarot consumerism, which I have nothing against, is the boat, isn't the practice and craft and community the water that floats it? Wait. I love breaking down analogies like this and trying to like poke holes in it. I'm gonna poke holes in this ship. Hopefully I can sink it. No. If tarot consumerism is the boat, isn't the practice and craft and community the water that floats it? I mean, it's interesting. Like, then why get on the boat at all? And is it a boat or is it a cruise? What type of boat is this? Or is it a raft? Now I'm like getting visuals of like the Wheel of Fortune in the Marielle, and how the wheel is seen as floating on water, on a boat on water, like in some decks. Moving on. So yeah, I guess that's it. And then here's a few other aspects talking about it. Like, okay, so there's a few, I don't know where to go. Like, there's one person on here that's commenting, and I'm not sure if I should comment and read out his post. So we're gonna, we'll come back to this later. Let me check the chat here. I reckon I don't have enough decks for a choose only 10, which, I mean, you're winning. At that point, it should be super easy. Overconsumption is a better choice of words because using medical diagnosis is not. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I look for a way-seeking mind rather than a preoccupation with collective consciousness. Okay. What? Okay, so I think as a guilty, it was hard. It was it though. Let's be real. There's those. I mean, I really. Better words, deck clutter. There it is. Yeah, for real. That's really. Yes, Sylvan. Yeah, Sylvain's Deadly Sins. Yes, love his channel. Let's see. No, it's really not. Hoarding has as much to do with not being able to get rid of things due to psychological distress. It's not just buying. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the getting stuff is one aspect. It's the being able to let go is the other half of that I think a lot of people latch on, like forget about hoarding. So yeah. Let's see. But again, I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm like, it's very interesting. Like, I don't know. Then we're getting into like mental health and the discussion of mental health in TarotTube and the tarot world, the tarot community. Let's see. Okay, and then this is another part: tarot as art versus a spiritual tool, and that's getting into like what I was talking about, like tarot as media, tarot as a piece of media or whatever, and how we interact with it. Because it's like, there's paintings, and then there's movies, and then there's books and poetry and all that, but we don't shuffle and lay out, those things like that as they are, put out to it. I think it was nobody here, Annika, who pointed out that like art is supposed to be for like art's sake. But yeah. I feel triggered about what? What do you feel triggered about? So yeah, let's see. I think so. I think mental health is really a relevant topic when you're talking about overconsumption and collection versus spiritual tools. It's like, again, when you're talking about the spiritual tool, and even then, the point of using a tarot as a spiritual tool, like, again, what's the goal with the spiritual tool? Are you using it in spells, in mystical meditations, and a ritual work? Like, how are you using that? Because again, usually, the goal there, uh, give or take a few exceptions, the goal with tarot is to move, it's to leave behind tarot and be able to understand those symbols and those designs and those all that mentally and visually, and be able to do it by yourself. It's literally to like the Golden Dawn and a lot of mystery schools and stuff like that. They used it as as training wheels, as a set of flashcards. I believe it was Dot Darling who calls it a Rolodex, an occult esoteric Rolodex. And though eventually you're supposed to leave that behind. But of course, as a tool for divination and fortune telling, I mean, you can't, you don't have to like, view it as like a training wheel thing. You can constantly use it. It's a little more, there's more leeway to that. So there's a difference for like divination and fortune telling versus, well, even then, divination, communing with the divine, you can even use that as like, eventually you can leave that behind. But fortune telling, predictions, all that, reading energies or whatever, I think that's a little different. High art versus low, girl. That's a lot to unpack too. It's yeah, that's another part of that discussion, like that you have to consider, like what was considered high art versus what was considered low art, kind of like how jazz was once considered low art and then became high art because of racism. So yeah, let's see. I have a few more decks I'm using about whether I want them or not. I hope they won't go out of print due to people shelving them at home, still in cellophane, never to be used. I'm not looking at anything. Let's see. The C word. Let's see. Of course, yeah. It's a piece of the intersectionality that needs, a piece of intersectionality. No, it is, yeah, it's a gear that is in the machine of a community that needs to be focused on and well oiled and paid attention to if it squeaks, not to be like hush, Let's see. Yeah, I like this discussion topic, Stephen. Art versus tool praxis and technique versus spiritual quest. Yeah. Let's see. Art is curated and enjoyed. Spiritual tools are used and processed. That's what I'm saying. It's like we don't, use the Mona Lisa to pick a generic painting, or a Monet, or I'm trying to think of any other ones. As we view tarot. Of course, there are decks, that can bridge that gap. Tarot of Delphi, Majestic Earth, Pinchos du Monde, what is it? The Rebellious Rose, I think that's one of them. I think that's what was one of them. Victorian Romantic also kind of does that in a way, but those are more illustrations. And that's the difference too. It's like there's paintings and then there's illustrations. And then that also adds a layer of, more complexity to this, trying to weed out like what this is, Let's see. I personally don't feel comfortable labeling tarot tubers choices as accents in the mental health area. I have to agree with that. It's like, we're not diagnosing anyone, and we shouldn't really like project onto, things like that, Mm. And quilting is considered low art because of sexism and even like ageism. But I mean, like, girl, everybody loves a quilt, There's something more intimate to that. But that's another thing with like low art. There's something intimate to it, Let's see. Yeah, tarot is a technique and a practice, something you do that works all the time. The more you do it, I'd say it's more like reading the tarot is a technique and practice, because I feel like again it requires the actual cards to do said technique and practice. you know, because again it requires the object, I think. Yeah, and tarot works less if overused. Absolutely. It's not something that you should use all the time. And because again, it's I don't know. It's yeah. This is I think the perspective to take. I think tarot works less if overused. Um, Oh, the decks he mentioned. Major Mofo. FOMO. FOMO triggers. They'll be back, I'm sure. You know, let's see. For instance, I've collected ephemera since I was a kid, and when I look at my deck collection, which is definitely a collection, probably 75% is probably more ephemera than tool. Okay, what's an ephemera? Let me look this up. Shh. We're still learning, people. I'm familiar with the words. Ephemera. Ephemera. Things that exist or are used or enjoyed for only a short time. Okay, there were papers, letters, old boxes, all sorts of ephemera. Items of collectible memorabilia. Okay, items of collectible memorabilia, typically written or printed ones that are originally expected to have only short-term usefulness or popularity, which kind of makes it like, I mean, that's interesting how it's viewed as short-term, because like I feel like tarot can last much longer than it depends on the time. Like, is there a strict time limit? Like, for how long? Like a month, a few years, a few millennia? Like, what's the length? Because I'm pretty sure, like, we all know how long plastic lasts. Where is she? Where is this deck? Where'd she go? Here she is. You know, with the increase in plastic decks, like, how long is this thing? How long is this thing going to be present? You know, like, paper will eventually dissolve and fade away and, you know, biodegrade and all that, for the most part. But even then, like, what, and also, like, if there's cardboard, right? Cardboard is different. Anyways. Let's see. Who is she? We're going to look at her. Now we're getting off topic here, but we're going to get back on topic real quick. Let's see. What's her name? Judy Chicago. Judy. Oh, look at that. Judy Chicago. American artist. Oh my God. Oh, that thing's moving. Her paintings are moving. Oh my gosh. Is there a tarot deck of her art? I'd love a deck of her art. I love it. It's giving me Thoth. It's giving me oh my gosh, what's that deck? I have it here somewhere. It's buried under all these decks. It's giving me yeah, her. Don't fall. Don't make a loud noise. Don't scare me. Okay. Here we go. It reminds me of this, of the Dream Visions Tarot. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm not on screen. I'm not looking at this on the screen. It reminds me of this guy. You know, I don't know, for some reason, some of the cards. I don't know why. Like the colors and the line work, I feel. In a way. So yeah. Let's see. I love these conversations, but I guess I struggle when we talk more about individual behavior rather than the collective systemic issues at play. I think that's where some of it falls. But yeah, I think we get lost in, I believe, like the weeds. We get hyper focused on a single thing and we focus on one point, you know, and again, the mistaking the forest, the trees, you know, all that type of stuff, you know. So yeah, it's really like, and then like when we look back on like how we've like hyper focused on that one thing, and then we look at the bigger picture and we're like, wait a minute, okay, I get it now, you know. And then you look, and then you start to wipe away the clown makeup, you know. So yeah. But I can also, okay, so let's see. Tarot is a tool for me anyways. I mean, I feel like that's what it is. It's a tool, you know. I think that's a common thing here. Like, what else is it for, you know? I don't know. But I can also use that as a measure of my own mental. This is Stacey H here. Let's see. Because when it becomes about the acquisition rather than the item itself, I know I'm crossing lines for myself. That is true. I've crossed that line a few times, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. I think, yeah. Anyways. Oh yeah, there is a difference between Tower of Delphi, carefully choosing art pieces, and other decks just slamming generic, sometimes pretty illustrations on cards and calling it tarot. No, that's not wild, girl. I've said that all the time. Every time I talk about Tower of Delphi, some of y'all just don't know what you're doing. Some people just you know. There's one that came out that is sort of Delphi-ish. It's the Greek gods and goddesses. It's called the Hellenic Oracle by Garden Goddess Tarot? Is that her name? garden goddess something, I can't remember, but she released the Hellenic oracle, and I'm like, oh, and then I saw the pictures and I saw more of it, and I was like, oh, okay. Some of it were a little bit questionable, but makes sense. They're not. They're very. She's very conscious of what Greek god or goddess or deity that she's putting in the cards, and as she's as finding the right pieces of art that express that visually. But yeah, let's see. I use tarot all the time with clients. It's a muscle for me. I mean, again, and that depends. That's another aspect that we have to consider. How are we working with the tarot with other people versus how we're working with ourselves, and that the tool as it is for working with others versus ourselves, because that's very different. It's very different using tarot for introspection and self-reflection and meditation versus reading for answering questions for people. Let's see. Instead of talking about capitalism and consumerism, it's easier to talk about people who buy too much, people who only share decks for clout, people not making deep content. That's what we got to bring it back to. Let's bring it back to that. No, let's bring it back to that. It's the need to buy to make us feel satisfied, to make us feel like to make us feel valued and valid in a way. And I don't know, being able to afford, is a way of like, yeah. We start making assessments about each other and what we share online, which often crosses boundaries. Example, mental health labels. It becomes viewers versus content creators a lot of the time. Absolutely. Which I feel like that it's slowly starting to the viewer content creators boundary is kind of, I feel like it's growing, but also sometimes I see things and I'm like, maybe it's not, because particularly with TarotTube, it's like there's a lot of closeness. Like a lot of people get really close here in TarotTube as compared to like bigger channels where it's like there's a distance. The parasocial relationship is more prominent, and it's more easily pointed out, but like a lot of people will consider themselves friends with relatively big creators in TarotTube. And it's it depends. But yeah, rather than understanding how we are collectively influenced by the systems we live under and within, yeah, it's hard to, yeah, it's again, and it's like to talk about capitalism. I feel like a lot of people have that capitalist mindset in tarot. Like I've seen it in tarot groups and tarot selling groups, where again, like, okay, so like one part that I'm having here, which is this off topic? It kind of is off. No, it's on topic because again, deck prices, people complaining about deck prices, all that stuff. I see a lot of posts saying, at least in this group, of like, buyers, do your research, but then I'm also like, okay, but like, why don't we also have sellers do their research as well and show their evidence for pricing something as such? What is their proof for pricing a deck as something at a certain price point? Eh, you know but yeah. Let's see. What is this? Just text. It can be anything: books, makeup, shoes. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's the overconsumption. It's all that. There's a video that I watched on fast fashion, and and I think we can also apply this perspective of the problems with fast fashion, and you know uh, being able to afford certain things, being able, and being able to afford those things, and watching this video, I was like, oh, this rings similar to like a lot of the conversations that we've had in the tarot world. Let's see. Let me see if I can find this. No? Are you not going to? Here it is. Yeah, by Broy de Chanel. Let me see if I can share it. No, I don't want to play it. Is my audio off? Okay, here we go. Pause. I'm going to share this. Copy. Paste. Chat. So yeah, that video, that right there is a link to a video on this, you know, and she says why no one wins the fast fashion debate, and she like approaches all the different, like, from capitalists to even like the racist history in that, and you know, all that stuff in there. Yeah, here we go. So there's a culture of every interpretation is just fine and use the cards as you like. Yep, all true. But if we go that route, we may not be in tune with scholarship. Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to sound like a conservative, you know, or a fundamentalist in terms of like, this is the one true. It's like, okay, listen, the Marseille, it's kind of ugly, like, you know. And I'm also very hesitant to be like, oh yes, Marielle, yes, that's the best one, you know, all of the decks bow down to the queen. But then I'm like, but I love the Rider-Waite-Smith at times. But then I see it and I'm like, girl, Pixie, what were you doing? You know, it's anyways. Oh, I've been on for an hour. Oh my god, I've been on for an hour. But yeah. I think it might be, yeah, it's getting worse. And like, how that affects the tarot market, I don't know. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You lies, a fabrication, a mythology. It's a lie. But hello, Natalia. Hello. Yeah, let's see. I'm applying slow fashion to several areas of my life lately, tarot included, trying to at least. Yeah, I think for the most part, tarot is slower, you know? And even if it is like something that you're gonna move on, you rarely does a tarot deck end up in like a landfill. Rarely. Usually it ends up sent to someone, unless, you know, unless a Christian church gets a hold of it and, you know, burns it or whatever. Yeah, a super evangelical, you know, yeah, you know, those kinds of churches. But for the most part, I feel like they stay here. You know, there's decks that I've had since I've started collecting tarot, which was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Ooh, girl, she's getting along in age. Ooh. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, I feel like tarot, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really count as like ephemera because I feel like tarot lasts longer. You can move it along to someone and all that. You know, there's decks that we've had, even like, you know, we've have like the Rider-Waite-Smith that are still here, you know, the very first Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, there's plenty of those around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know. So yeah, let's see. What is this, Stephen Palmer? What? What'd she say? What did he say? What? Let's see. Oh, right. Pixie girl, what are you doing? Let's see. Stephen Palmer, and when is that gatekeeping versus scholarship? Not arguing is a question I ask myself. In my job, there are many who use intuition, and I want to say, you don't know enough yet. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people say intuition to kind of be able to like say whatever they want about the certain things, because I think people don't actually read the card sometimes. They don't read the images. What's the point of the images if you're not going to read them? You know, if you're just getting the card and you're just saying, oh, this is a bad card, keyword, that's what's going to happen to you, blah, 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 that. And I'm trying to break away from that. I can fall into that sometimes as well. And, you know, people will then like ignore the imagery on the card and just go based off of intuition, or call, you know, describing what's on the card and relating it to the problem or the question at hand as intuition, and that's not necessarily intuition, you know, because intuition is something else than that, you know. Let's see. Let's see. It's interesting. I have been using Thoth primarily for almost all of 2021, and feel that I just now am getting to know it. So personally, I find it hard to know a deck when you use so many in depth. At least, absolutely, I'm experiencing this. Like I'm experiencing like a really severe, fallout of that. With I completely like nearly like no, I essentially just like kind of forgot everything that I read up on the Yohalia Hecatel tarot. But I think this is something that I'm going to have to realize that I can't just learn it all in one day. I think, or in 1 month or a week. It's something that I have to actually sit down and work with and move things aside and move things along to focus on working with it. So yeah. So let's see. Yeah, because intuition is not just making stuff up. What is it layered upon? Exactly. It's like I said, it's your brain connecting two things together to create something to create an answer or to come to a solution. Intuition is like, okay, for an example, intuitive technology. We now know to look at the top right corner of something to find the X to exit out of that. And people and sometimes advertisements kind of take advantage of that, and will show our reaction to tap on something on a screen and how we intuitively know, like, oh, what's a link and what's not, and what we think we can click on. Sometimes we know, like, oh, maybe a picture's a link and we can click on, things like that we're getting used to with websites. At least that's an example, but it can also apply in the real world, kind of like how we no, that's more instinctual. I don't know. It's a blending of rationality with the instinctual. It's yeah. I've talked about it in my intuition live stream. We're not going to rehash it over here, but I really need to like, settle down on it. Let's see. You can never know Thoth. It's a rabbit hole. Well, I think this is where we're kind of like, I think this might be another thing of like over complicating things. I think you can. I think it's just, again, I think you can never know entirely the tarot, I think, in a way. I don't know. It's like, I think you can. I think there is a finite thing that you can, but I think where it's like the infinite aspect of it is how a culture or a society will read a symbol or view something, kind of like how, the swastika was viewed one way before, World War II and, Hitler's, the rise of Hitler and all that. And then now we kind of see it and we're like, okay, that no, and so that's just on this, on reading symbols, which I think is like one of the main aspects of reading tarot. So yeah. We just need to start our sources and have no problem standing on solo interpretation, but I will be prepared for scrutiny. Wait, what? We just need to set our source. Yeah, I have no problem standing in a solo interpretation, but I'll also be prepared for scrutiny. I think this is where it's like, this is where people just have to accept, like, for me personally, this is how this card shows up for me, and I feel like it's applying to this currently, and I think that's where people will then be like, oh no, that's not right. Like one time when I showed how I do a card counting method, one person like commented like, well, the Golden Dawn did it. I'm like, I wasn't saying that this is the Golden Dawn way. I wasn't saying that this is the correct and only way. The Golden Dawn way is valid, but so is this way. But if it doesn't work for me, then I'm not going to use it. I'm going to move on. Let's see. Let's see. What's going on here? It's called a practice for a reason. Yeah, it's a lifelong study. Yeah, which is why I kind of want to learn. I mean, let's get a little depressing here. Let's get a little bit depressing here. All right. So like we are witnessing a generation like pass away, slowly, and eventually, like, Robert Place, Rachel Pollack, who else? I don't know who else, all, the older generation, essentially, they're moving on. And it's like Vincent Petisky is a great example of, like, people who read tarot way back in the day. I'm going to say, I think we can use 78 Degrees of Wisdom as like a turning point in like how tarot is read, along with like Eden Gray's book, those two books, like that area of time, and versus like, and compare like how readers read the tarot before those books versus now, and how, the older generation read through that, and how their reading style changed. We'd have to see, how that changed, if that makes sense. Let's see. I mean, some of it you can pass, some of it you can skip over, yeah. Let's see. That is not. Let's see. Thoughts is an ascended figure, in my understanding. A deck is a deck, but the spiritual side is another thing. I mean, I'm not going to call Thoth an ascended figure. Well, is he? No, I view him as a god, as a deity. But that's another thing. We're not going to get into that right now. Oh, look at that. She finds it aggressive. What? And I can see that. I agree. But is that like from the cultural, background of it, with Crowley's, with the not the cultural background, the reputation that kind of, informed a bias in a way. A lot of people say that, like, it's dark, it's aggressive, it's a little bit, it's intimidating, it's domineering, it's very controlling. But I find it that it's like, it's just, I think it's just strict. And you can just read it and be like, okay, whatever that means. I find it like that, but yeah. Surname who? Oh yeah, absolutely. This too. Right. I took a long break from tarot and came back more thothy. It's weird. Okay, so we're kind of getting a little bit off topic here. I know. We're talking about the tarot market here, not how we read tarot. Let's bring it back, people. Let's bring it back, all right? Should I pinkety drinkety or water? I'm going to do water. It's best to do water. I'm very volatile with my... Oh, I'm very Voltaire about studies. I read everything. If it's not for me, it's out the window. True. I think the art is very much, again, it's like, again, I think Art Deco art is very much devoid of, like, I don't know, like, life in a way. I don't know why. But yeah. Oh, no, not you. Like, everyone. It's not just you, Veronica. Everyone, get back on topic here. Tarot market is a mess right now, a big mess. I mean, let's take a look here. Let's look at Kickstarter. What's going on here? Let's drag some decks here. Kickstarter.com. Yes, let's go. Okay, let's go. Search. Let's just look up tarot. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen right now. Okay. Okay, we got some interesting things here. All right, we're already showing some stuff here. What is this? Let me share screen. Let me see if I'm doing this right. Select the Windows screen, entire screen, or StreamYard, Mozilla Firefox. I'm gonna go this. I'm going to go allow. Okay, let me see how this looks. I don't know how it looks. I can't tell how this looks. But hopefully I can. Let me see if I can. Nope. We're gonna go there. Can Can I do that? No, that's not what I want. That's showing my YouTube. Oh, right, because it is the YouTube. Now you can see my YouTube feed. Not what I want. I want, here we go. This is what I want. There we go. Let me see if this is working now. Yes. Okay, it looks right. Okay. Right, can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? It's my face and then the screen. Should I don't know. Anyways, let me see if I can do this. Right? Is that working still? Okay, good. Okay, good. So I can also see chat too. But I also want to make it like that. Okay. Yeah, so you guys get a full view of everything, if that makes sense. Where is it? Where is she? Where is my thing? Here it is. I'm new to this. I'm inexperienced. Okay, here we go. All right, bye everyone. Bye everyone. Bye Esoteric Mystic Portal. Okay, so let's take a look at, again, this market here. What's going on? Let's take a look at Kickstarter here. This bitch right here, not to insult it by calling it a bitch, but you know, I have been bombarded with advertisements on Instagram for this deck. But I think I also follow this account, I think. So, but yeah, when you can't tell what's being sponsored or what's an ad versus what's content that you want to follow, I think we might be having an issue here. But again, point is that the advertisement campaign for this deck has been aggressive, to say the least. And it's just to be quite honest, it's just like Darkness of Light Part 2, you know? All right, bye, Steven. Yes, we see it. Okay, good. Okay. So yeah, so let's look at these prices here. Okay, 49 euros for one Terra deck. That's the early bird. Is that available still? I think so. When is this? Wait, did this barely just start? Did this Kickstarter just barely start? 10 days to go. No, I think no, it's been on for a while. So why is this early bird still available? Or is it? I don't know. Usually it'd say all gone. Oh, okay. Oh, this is a super early bird. Okay, well, anyways. But yeah, there's like no like extras. It's just the deck. Anyways. But yeah. Let's go back. Let's see. Interesting. Yes, the push for more and more decks instead of people using what they have and really getting to know it and study it. And yeah, absolutely. It's let's see, what is this? What's going on? What? Let's see. Yeah, Baroque Tarot is on Market Replay. Don't need, I will not extend my tool set. There it is, tool set. Yeah, what is your tool set? Let's limit that. Right. Okay. Also, I'm kind of getting off topic as well with these freaking damn Kickstarters. Let's ignore that. No, away. Go away. Enough of that. Okay. Duck Soup puts his comment onto this stuff as consuming the tarot, but really it was more like in terms of community discussions and being able to talk about things and educate people. And I think Duck Soup's drama surrounding Duck Soup is really a good example of how people don't really know how to talk to each other and help, you know, discuss you know, where someone is wrong or has an issue with something. I feel you know, because like I said, I think some of the decks that he has, I think maybe shouldn't exist. You know, if we're saying, you know, to put it lightly. You know, but again, he's already had, you know, enough of a hard time, and I think in the end the harassment that he got, albeit sort of kind of deserved, kind of also like backfired and made him just more stubborn and made him, you know, not willing to you know, be open to you know, it closed off his mind and, you know, just made him unable to really continue the discussion, because it's like, if you're going to talk to me this way, how am I going to have a fair conversation with you, you know? But yeah, but again, I think this was a little bit, I don't know. Again, this is more consuming the tarot versus discussions within the tarot world. But yeah. Let's see. Are you complaining there are no extras? Hashtag concern. Exactly, yes, but it's yeah, essentially. Yeah, I am. There it is. There it is. It's right there. I'm a victim of it. I'm a victim. Let's see. Mass market always mirrors back consumer needs. So why are we surprised? We bitch about watered down, badly produced decks while talking about people who don't bother to study tarot. So the reflection of, there it is. Right there. There it is right there. Thank you, Natalia. Let's see. It may be ours. It may be yours, or mine reflection within the market, but at least it's there. And sometimes people have to go through shallowness to get to depth, and that's okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you got to start in the shallow end, of course. You know, you can't just dive in head first without knowing how to swim. But of course, sometimes though, on the other hand, what people are putting out are just puddles, and people are like having the scuba suit ready and diving in headfirst into muddy puddles and thinking, oh my god, the depth, oh my god, the depth, oh, so rich in depth. And it's like, honey, there's nothing new here. What are you talking about? There is no depth. It's a puddle. you know uh with some of the decks that people put out, it's like, let me tell you, it ain't that deep. Well, they really wouldn't do that. They had their own set. They had their own deck, and it, like they said, it has to have all these things in it, and then you can express it with your own way. But yeah, but again, yeah, but most of these people will think making my own deck is making the Rider-Waite-Smith in my own terms, and I'm like, okay, stop with the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, make something else other than Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, I dare you to release something that's not influenced in any way, shape, or form on the Rider-Waite-Smith. No, not even that. Golden Dawn system. Okay, show me something that's not even inspired by the Golden Dawn system, because that's what the Rider-Waite-Smith is, along with the Thoth. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, but we as a consumer are not helpless. We can use our money to make statements, and we can decide to go on financial diets and not things. We have a role. That's the thing. It's true, but also there's something to this. I'm not ready to respond to this yet. We'll come back to that on another day. I think that's the thing, though. I think that feeds also into consumerism still, though. Buy things, that'll also change it. Buy more, buy different instead. That'll also, and it's like, no, that's still buying stuff. The point is, being more selective in what you purchase. I think is the point here, in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, we can't just, again, because there's a weird double thing going on there. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, read Duck Soup. It's much easier to blame the creator than to admit that the community makes the particular deck profitable, which is a very real problem. Which I'm like, that's why I'm saying, it's like, if we had an issue with one of his decks, which I will not name to promote it, again, it's like, we can just, again, like, if that were the case, those decks that Duck Soup made that aren't really like, that are really like, maybe not, then, people would have supported those, and the sales wouldn't go, and he would just take them off the shop. But he still has them, and they're still available, I think, even to this day. But anyways. Let's see. Okay. So let's continue this discussion. Should we read into Benabel Wen's tweets discussing this? Because she also did a video on, like, discussing the tarot and all that. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so consuming the tarot, what a great discussion. In the attached tweets, I will be sharing some provocative sound bites from this discussion. So yeah. People who have things to promote, decks especially, are really mostly, we talked about this, are really most interested in only that, getting people to their Kickstarters, Etsy shops, and online stores. And I mean, we're kind of now getting into the weeds of like, what is a spiritual business? You know, that can't really be existing. You know, that shouldn't be a thing. You know, let's see. Am I the only one that noticed a major drop in depth? Yeah. I want. These are all quotes. I want your thoughts. Oh no, she's okay, girl. Yeah, I was like, girl. I was like, what? Where? What? I thought Benabal when this was the discussion, the discourse Benabal, but no, I guess not. These are just a soundbite. So I could have just responded to this honestly, because these are really the main hitting points. I should have read this before, but I was like, wait, what is it? No, but no, I think she might do a video. She did do a video on. Wait a minute. When was this? Wait a minute. I think she did. No, she didn't. Benabal did do a video on this, but on the tarot market. But anyways, so yeah, I didn't add any of my own thoughts. Not just go to but I did leave a comment on the forum itself. Oh, okay. Oh, right. That's right. Let me see. I think it was the most recent one. Right, here we go. Here she is. We found you. Got you. So yeah, let me drink some water because my throat hurts. No video. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Thank you for starting this discussion. This is Benabel here. We're reading her content, her response here. I did want to speak up and advocate on behalf of many silent content creators. I know I also just skipped past a bunch of posts, but I wanted to read Benabel's, let's see. I know that's not a likable term, lol, but for the sake of communication, I can't think of a better catch-all phrase right now, because not all of the people I'm referring to are authors, deck creators, professional tarot readers, or YouTubers, etc. I mean, content creator is I have no issue with content creator. Why do people have issues with content creators? With the term content creator, I mean, it's vague. It's broad enough to be like, you're creating content to be consumed. Like, it's like, whether that's a book or a movie or a piece of art, it's content. That's not reductionary. It's just over inclusive, I guess, in a way. But again, it's not. I don't consider it reductionary to like, better things, I guess, in a way. Better things, whatever that means. Let's see. I don't believe that content creators are silent on controversial, difficult, or substantive topics solely because of brand image or financial profit, and to dismiss it as just that is a bit simplistic. It's mental health. It's necessary self-preservation. When was the last time a content creator actually spoke up about an issue and didn't get it ad hominem attacks and trolled incessantly at the light end and at the most serious end, doxed and death threats, rape threats, sorry, trigger warning, a little late, sorry, the necessity of a mental health professional and involvement of the police. So I like to point out that it isn't just a matter of business-driven strategy and branding that a hustle is trying to preserve. Society has changed. The rules of conduct in the marketplace of ideas have changed. I think that might also have to do with like the internet itself. We don't know how to properly behave on the internet. I think that's the thing as well. I think it matters on of like how we conduct ourselves online. I think a lot of people don't. I think like I said, a lot of people aren't well informed on how to behave. Like I said, we just because it's like how you conduct ourselves in certain in like professional settings and in in a school setting or in different in real life in-person settings. Like you're not going to act a certain way on the sidewalk versus like how you are at home. But again, we don't know what would be the best way to conduct ourselves online. What can we post online? How much are we sharing of ourselves? When is the right time to talk about something? But yeah, let's see. And even when the reasoning is to preserve business profits, so what? So what if the full-time online tarot professional decides to keep quiet because she is a single mother of two, and the money she earns from her tarot business puts food on the table and a roof on her children's heads? How many of us with families and mortgages would willingly jeopardize our employment at corporate day jobs to speak our truths, or because we must be our authentic selves? I mean, that's very true. Like, I've seen it. I've like been a part of that in one form or another. So like, I think back in, was it November? I'm not sure. Was it November back when the verdict for Derek Chauvin came out? You know, I'm doing my Instagram thing, sharing all my stories. Just, you know, I'm like, you know what? I agree with that. I see this and that, whatever. You know, and so there was this Instagram account that I also followed, and they followed me back, I believe. Well, yeah, they did. How else would they see my stories? And I backed the Kickstarter that this Instagram account, you know, did. They're a publisher. They're an independent publisher. They're called Hexen Hammer Verlag. I think that's their name. Um, and they did the Goetia. They did this Goetia deck with the artist Jim Pavlik. And I'm like really excited about that. And I was really looking forward to it. And I followed the Instagram to see updates, you know, in case they don't post any on Kickstarter. That's what I do. It's like Kickstarter and on Instagram to see any updates as to the production of the deck. So I'm sharing my things, and I'm sharing what happened, like you know, opinions that are being stated out loud on the internet onto my personal thing and all that on my stories. And I get like private messages from this person, and you know, and they're like essentially like giving me all this shit for like sharing these tweets and these things on my Instagram stories. And I'm like, honey, why are you coming at me like private? Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Why would you do this? Like, what? I was in shock. I was I was like, wow. And then like they started getting super political on their posts, and I'm like, okay, yeah, believe what you're gonna believe, whatever, like politics, blah blah blah, whatever. You're wrong, I'm right, whatever. You know. And so I'm like now kind of conflicted as to like whether I should ask for a refund. I really like the art imagery on the deck. It's something that I think, you know, I've been looking for in a Goetia deck for a long time, because it's like a lot of people just do those black and white, you know, wood etching type sketches type of images of the Goetia that someone drew. I can't remember who it was. It was very popular. A lot of people just do that. And or the Goetia deck by, who's the guy? The guy that made the Santa Muerte Tarot. I can't remember his name. Italian artist, I think, very CGI-esque art. And I was like, I don't like those. I don't like his art. It's ugly. And then I saw Jim Pavlik's art. I'm like, yes. And then I saw the point is, long story short, um, diplomatic side. You're wrong. I'm right. Yes. So point is though, is that this person like just like essentially bombarded me with like, you know, a hateful like response to me like sharing my opinions on there privately. And I was like, I didn't ask for this discussion. Why are you talking to, like, what is like, what inside of this? And then I saw that he was like, now that, and he's like in like a lot of like right wing conservative, like he's essentially glorifying Derek Chauvin, right? Is that his name? Derek Chauvin? You know, he got he got off scot free, you know. Uh and and so he, you know, he, yeah, and he's also like in like the manosphere, he's a meninist, like he's a men's rights activist. I'm like, girl, I'm like, this is some incel red pill shit. And I saw that he has that he has kids, he's a father. And I'm like, wow, like what is going on? Like he's like, I was like, what is that? Like what? And so I'm like, okay, I can go two ways about this. I can cancel my pledge and get my money back. I kind of, for some reason, I still want the deck. I still want it because I like it. But or get the deck and share my experience like I did right now about this publisher and inform people like, hey, this guy's a vocal, you know, like anti-feminist, anti-SJW type of right-wing conservative publisher, and he's very vocal on his posts, even like on both of his accounts, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, it's but whatever, after he sent me those messages, he blocked me, and then I'm like, okay, block you too. I don't know. So yeah, so yeah, and I'm like, what is, like, what? And so here, this is why I can't separate the art from the artist, especially for me. I feel like the artist's ethics and ideas bleed into the art at a base subconscious level. Well, thankfully, this guy's just a publisher. This guy he's just producing the deck. The artist is someone else. But the thing is, now I'm not sure where Jim Pavlik, I think that's the artist name, where he stands on certain things. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. Again, is this just a business thing, or are they like, oh yeah, we have the same exact ideas, whatever, blah blah blah, and yeah, let's work together and produce this thing. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. The point is, though, is that okay, so like Hexenhammer could have kept his mouth shut, and not, share all that shit privately to me, unannounced, Chrysalis, what? Him too? Girl. Lord. And here's the thing. How is it that when we can tell, unless they say, unless unless you follow, and this is where the issue with, again, separating the art from the artist, what, like, how, huh? How do you know if you don't know, if they're not vocal about it, And again, it's like, and here's the issue with like being extremely right wing and conservative and all that. Usually they're like, how I had that experience. They're usually like that. How can I have a logical discussion and conversation? Where is the discourse in that? Yes, I did. I'm not on Twitter that much. I'm not. I missed it. What? Yeah, same here, Katie. I just got the deck like a while back. But I haven't really read it much. But again, and it's like, yeah, and it's like, and this is where I'm gonna get into like, this is another live stream topic that we're kind of touching on, and I want to save for another deck, and that is, politics in the tarot, politics in deck production, politics in tarot imagery. Like, how does that, what is the, politics compared to like the spiritual law, the universal laws that, that govern our world, the laws of physics and nature and shit like that, compared to like man-made laws, we're getting into like that would go into that kind of stuff. But moving on. Let's see, Stephen Palmer. So what if a person antithetical to your way of being in the world creates your literal soul deck? Do you use it? This is a great question. I am too small-minded to think I would. I think I might need for purity. Toss it. I mean, it depends on like how, like, sometimes you can tell like a deck is like, oh, so like Crowley, for example, he was anti-Semitic. Let's be real, he was anti-Semitic. But you don't get any anti-Semitic imagery in his tarot. His tarot is very like, well, kind of universal in a way. But then you look at Dark Mansion, that Four of Pentacles. Who was it that shared? I believe Benabel posted a video, posted in her community tab and shared a channel that talked about this. And I was like, oh, that's very true. Why is the Four of Pentacles like that when the rest of the deck doesn't look anything like that or have any features similar to that thing there, But it's different. Not to say that like the creators of the Dark Mansion Tarot are like vocally anti-Semitic. It might be something that they may not have been aware of, but again, and this kind of goes into like the idea of representation, which that isn't representation, by the way, that Four of Pentacles, no, but that goes into like, again, if you worked, but even then, if it wasn't like an anti-Semitic image, what if you did put a person who is Jewish, you know, in that image, in that Four of Pentacles? The Four of Pentacles and Rider-Waite-Smith, like that's not, I no, you know, or putting let's say, for another example, you know, Latinos or Mexican Americans and Black people in cards of labor, i.e., like the Eight of Coins, the Seven of Coins, the Ten of Wands. What's another construction card? I can't think of another one. Cards of like hard labor, hard physical labor, you know, and that depends, and that goes into that, you know. But moving on, we're getting, that's for another thing. That's for another discussion. I don't want to get too much into that. I'm not sure if they did. I'd have to look into that. I've only just seen that and I'm like, huh. Only saw the video and I was like, but I'm not sure if Dark Matter, I think they did. I'm pretty sure they have. But I mean, it's very easy to change the art. Speaking of which, speaking of very popular decks, Light Vision's Tarot, you know, is a good example of like representation gone a little bit off, a little wrong. But it's very ironic that the Ten of Swords was the very card that, you know, that was where that discussion, where that issue of racist problematic imagery comes from, you know, and what it means, you know, but it depends on who's making it as well, who's profiting off of these images, and, you know, what one is looking at, you know, with that Ten of Swords card. But either way, but that Ten of Swords, I feel like, is not as blatant as that Four of Pentacles in the Dark Mansion. Like, okay. Or Five of Pentacles too. Yeah, or Five of Pentacles. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, about tokenism. Yeah. Not Light Vision. God, Light Seers. Yes, Light Seers. What the hell? Light Seers. Yes, Light Seers. I'm like, oh my God. I'm sorry. And here's another thing. Okay, so going through all these decks, y'all need to get more creative with these names. Okay, can we talk about that, about creativity? How about with the names? Can we just start with the names? Oh my gosh, like, it's annoying. I'm like writing down listing off all these decks from all these like only 10 decks, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like mind-numbing how repetitive all of these decks name. I challenge all from this point on, I want there to be no more oracle decks with the word goddess, with the word light, with the word with the word divine, with the word I don't know what else, sacred, with the word light. Can we, a challenge, just a challenge, okay? Not to devalue if the deck's name is supposed to be like that. Like, again, like I confuse Light Seers with Spirit Keepers, and then Light Visions. Yes, there is a Light Visions because it's the same as Consumer, but not the Light Visions. I mean the Light Seers. But again, no tea, no shade, Benabel. But again, it's just, you know, it's, the names are just so similar. Like, start with dropping the tarot part. Unpopular opinion. I guess that's true. Yeah. I guess, yeah, that would be fun. But I think it's a tarot. It's like, let people know it's a tarot, you know, let people know what it is. But if you're calling your oracle deck a tarot, that's a hate crime. I'm just kidding. That's not a hate crime. Let's see. It sounds very similar, like a lot, like Light Visions, the black and white version of the Prisma Visions. You know, Spirit Keepers, Light Seers. It sounds similar to me. What else? Let me see. I can read them off here. Do you want me to read them off? Let's read them off, words with angels and remove angel out of it, I don't know. As I say, and I don't, and then I finally go can't find anything. I don't know. It's like, no, I'm gonna consolidate and do a list and save it for my video. Save it for my video on the I'm gonna call it. Oh my god, yes. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this, please. I'm sorry. Uh, the Waite Smith tarot. Rider Waite Smith. I guess will include the publisher. But Waite Smith, the Crowley Harris tarot. The Knapp Hall tarot. The what's one? The Spacious tarot could be called. I can't remember what the creators' names are. Let me see here. Spacious tarot, instead of calling it spacious, call it I don't know. The Malone Huigd. Oh, I can't spell Annie's. I can't pronounce Allie's name. Yeah, but the Malin Ruitt. I can't pronounce that name. But yeah, just get those two last names and call it that. If my camera will focus. No? Okay, don't. That's okay. Okay, but that's the thing. It's like, that's not how I visualize. It's sepia and purple, not black and white. It's black and white. You know what I mean. See, that's a good name. Wildwood is a good name, yeah. Yeah, Terre de Saint Croix. After Lisa the Saint. Right? Yeah. Oh my god, yes. But yeah, Wildwood sounds like also Robin Wood. Get wood out of your No, I'm not coming after Spacious. I'm just saying, as a name, that would be, cool. But again, it's like Spacious Tarot. I think there's also a lot of words with space in there, yeah. If we are naming decks after creators, let's not leave out the artist, right? So here's the tea. I'm trying to find decks that actually leave out Pixie's name. Moon Baby, where are you? Moon Baby, where are you? Okay, so here's the tea. I have yet to find a deck that has Pixie's name removed on the box. Completely off the box. I'm trying to find those decks. That's a deck to find. That's a unicorn right there. Because that's fine. Okay, because a lot of people get on this, removing the artist, Pixies. I'm like, where though? Where? Hello, Mystic Rose Tarot. Phallic. Dark wood. Yeah, wood. Get wood out of your name. Oh yeah, this too. Yeah. Rider Waite. Yeah, it yeah, RW, yeah, the Waite Smith, Rider Waite Smith. It's like, include the person that illustrated. Yeah, it's that is very, yeah. But again, but my point still stands. So yeah, this kind of got way off topic. We're talking about the market, consumerism, how the market, yeah, anyways. Let's see what this says. Yeah, like shadowscapes. Okay, but then also like shadow is also getting overused as well. Okay. Gaia is another one, but dreams of Gaia, yeah. Okay. But let's see. Sometimes in the spirit of Atu 12, we need to grapple with the problematic. We need to seek out the hard edges and wrestle with them, like putting ourselves in a self-publisher. Absolutely, though. Yeah. It's like, to go back to like that issue that I had with that publisher that just literally just harassed me. It's like I don't want to like respond with the same type of attitude, with the same type of response on that. It's like, but it's like, okay, well, if this is how you're going to treat your customers, then okay, honey, this customer also has a platform, albeit very small, but mama, you just lost a few buyers. You just lost buyers for your little publication shop, okay? Public period, you know. For people that are like, oh, the Goetia, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. Wait, that's the Hexam one that so and so, that weird YouTuber with the with the dirty room that he doesn't pick up, said like, oh no, he's actually, he's actually he actually has some very problematic political views. So again, yeah. Anyways, what are those decks? I'm waiting for only 2 decks I ordered 1,000,000 years ago. I'm done buying. Which ones? Oh, right. Okay. Bootleg. Knockoffs. Let's get into this now. The problem with it, the issue with it, it leaks back to that video on fast fashion. And again, yeah, Wish is selling all kinds of bootleg decks. Yes. Okay. But it's not just Wish. Like, I think we all know, like, AliExpress, Wish, what's another one? I can't think of any other one. eBay, we know also. But now Amazon also has knockoff decks, knockoff bootleg version. I know there's a difference between bootleg and knockoff. Exactly. This is my, like, I'm sorry, especially if it's an indie deck creator, if it's like a deck that's been long out of print, that barely anyone knows about, that, like, the creator's dead, like, it's long out of print, maybe some leeway, but you should still buy it from a genuine source. But yeah, but there are people that are straight up, like, actually buying knockoffs and have, like, YouTube videos and are on YouTube, like, shamelessly using them and, like, sharing them and, like, showing them and, like acknowledging, like, yeah, these are, like, I'm like, what? What? Like, wait, what? Yeah. Bootleg. I love that word. Is that American? I believe it is. I think it comes from the when we made alcohol consumption illegal for a while. And they were bootleggers. There were people that would smuggle in alcohol through their bootlegs. I think they would have alcohol in their bootlegs, I believe. But yeah. Let's see. Peeps have really impassioned views about the influence of authors and artists re independent decks. These are bespoke, but peeps seek to generalize. Wait, what? But here's the thing. Yes, I think you're touching on something that I think also Sylvains. I don't know how to pronounce his name now. Deadly Sins. He talks about, like, when a deck is put out to the masses, it's for everyone, versus, like, a deck that someone has for themselves, obviously. But yeah, well, it kind of is, right? I don't buy knockoffs and it should be illegal. Well, I mean, it is, but people still do it. Exactly. But some people don't know. Querents, people coming for readings, don't give a fuck. They don't care. They just want their reading. They just want their questions. They're not, for a majority, if they're not, like, tarot readers themselves and not like us, if I were to do that, obviously I'd be like, what is that? I'd be like, let's take a minute right here before you shuffle those cards and get to asking my question. What is this? Yeah, as far as I know, it's illegal. Yeah. I think it should be more kind of enforced. I don't know. Let's see. I hate how people are justifying the reasonings for buying knockoffs. Oh, well, Doreen Virtue deserves it after how she exited. Or, oh, I'm using it for an art project. Like, no. With Doreen, like, again, like with Doreen Virtue, like, it's kind of, but also you're kind of taking money from the people who are working in those printers making those decks. But I think we also have to realize, and this is something that I thought about, I was like, why are people making these knockoff decks? And not to be like, oh, no, let them make their knockoff. Like, no, this is a bigger issue here. This is a bigger problem here. Again, going back to the fast fashion video, where essentially these people are making knockoffs because they see that people will buy and pay money for it, because they're like, I need money. I'm gonna make these decks and sell them to make something, because again, it's like these I don't think these people want money. I think they need it, you know. They don't want to make they don't want to make a buck. They need to make a buck. You know what I mean? I'll give them that for the people making these knockoffs. But you know, that's just a product of, you know, capitalism, I believe. But that's just an overgeneralization, and I think there's more to it. But again, like I'm not well informed on that. But yeah. But yeah, let's see. Majority of clients don't even want the reading, just confirmation uh, of what they want to hear. They won't lose sleep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right there. That too. If you like, I don't know, you have to make sure that you don't put money into it, you know? But I will say that, and it's true though, but like, okay, no. Here's the thing. That, yeah, and in the end, that's not probably very helpful, because the bootleggers, the knockoff, the people selling the knockoffs, when they're making these listings online, okay, they can get the thumbnail image from the publisher or from somewhere else of the genuine deck, like say the Spacious Tarot. They can take a picture of this, okay, take a picture of that, you know, show all, you know, and you know, then list it, and showing the images as this. But then when you get it, it comes in a tuck box with a QR code on the side, and you're like, what? So that's not very helpful, because again, if these thumbnails are, you know, misleading, people don't know that they're actually getting the fake one. You know, they're not, you know. That's another thing. And that's another aspect of unknowingly you know, getting a knockoff, you know. That's forgivable. You know, you didn't know. You weren't aware. You weren't, you know, I made a post like that talking about, you know, knockoffs and all that. And someone said, like, well, there are people that, I'm like, obviously, I'm not aiming my animosity and annoyance to those people, because, you know, like, you didn't know any better. You're new to buying decks. You're not very well familiar with the ecosystem of the tarot market in a way, you know. Um, you know, so again, like if you bought it accidentally, sure. uh and that's where you can start thinking of like, okay, maybe I can do something else with this, and you know, use it, you know, glue the cards on the journal and use it as a way while I get the actual deck and use it. But again, in the end, though, people are wasting more money. You know, say they pay the whatever $5-10 the fake deck is worth, but then they realize, oh no, and then they're like, oh, then I have to get the genuine one and then pay the 20, 30, 50, so on and so forth, you know, for the genuine thing, making that deck essentially kind of like more, you know. They spend more on it, you know. Hello, Sanskrit Blue. Who, what, where, what? I've turned to people, and I try, but there's so many. There's so many. There's too many. You can't fight. They're literally like a hydra, and I think we're kind of fighting it the wrong way. There's different perspectives as to how to, you know, cut off this hydra's head, you know, or to fight the hydra, but of knockoff decks. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, what they're talking about with clout, the consumerism, the again, I think you even see it in the makeup industry, where they're like, oh, buying some fakes and trying them out. Where I think in the makeup industry, buying knockoffs and bootlegs are actually more dangerous, because you actually put those on your body. With tarot decks, it's like, oh, it's a shitty shuffle. Okay. It's like, oh, it's a shitty box. Oh, you know, oh, there's no guidebook. Oh, well, you know. let's see. And here's the thing: if people are trying to save money, I understand that. I get that. Sometimes you can't afford the full price thing, and it's like, and this is where it's like we're kind of like, getting that consumerist FOMO type of thing going on. Like, I legit like kind of want to see what's the deal with the Light Sears Tarot. But on the other hand, I'm like, I have so many decks that I don't work with. Maybe I need to save it on. But a good thing is that it's mass market. I don't have to get it now. I don't have to stress about getting the indie version, though I kind of do feel bad that I missed out on the indie version. But I'm not gonna, because it's mass market. I'm like, okay, I can get the mass market, like, you know. Same with the Wild Unknown, as I think Joey Luna said. Now there's like a tin version, and if you go to the, I think I don't. Who carries it? I know. I want to say, like, I don't know. I can't remember, but I don't think Llewellyn helps distribute it. No. But I'm sure if you go on, but I know Llewellyn will have like 20 to 30 to 40, sometimes 50% off your entire purchase for every like season or whatever. Llewellyn has plenty of sales, and I'm like, fierce. Hello, Shuffle Tarot. But yeah, it's yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's, because again, here's what I say. I just say stop buying from Amazon. Amazon has enough money. They don't need that. Stop buying from eBay. Only buy certain things from eBay. Like, like out of print decks that you actually have a picture, like an actual picture, like someone got their phone, took a picture of the actual item and and yeah, like, on eBay, only. I always say just go directly to the publisher. I only steal from Amazon. I buy from independent sellers. But again, it's like, well, here's the thing. It depends on what you mean by I only steal from Amazon. Are you buying knockoff decks from Amazon? Because again, those creators are losing royalties that they're barely getting at all. That's one thing. Because again, like, creator of the Everyday Enchantment Tarot, enchantment, that's another word. Stop using that in your deck names. But moving on, Everyday Enchanted Tarot, the creator made a video and discussed like, hey, like, I'm not making that much money off of this. And it's like true. It's like the mass market, and I think Benabel mentioned this in her video discussing this, on like producing decks and publishing a book and being a publisher, whatever. I can't remember which one, but she does say like the mass market is usually more to advertise and to get your name out there so people know you. Then you can get the indie stuff and do your classes and do your stuff, to help that. But moving on, but that's also describing the consumerist system as well. But yeah, but again, in the end, don't go to Amazon at all. Go directly to that made me laugh. Okay. Go directly to the publisher, Llewellyn's website, US Games website. I'd say Los Carabeo, but Los Carabeo is distributed by Llewellyn, so don't have to worry about that. I was gonna say AG Mueller, but I tried buying directly from AG Mueller, and that it's a mess. It's a mess. Don't. If you're in the US, it's way too. I'm like, no, this is too much. No. If you I don't have a credit card. I don't want one. But if you have one, sure, you can go on AG Mueller, AGM Urani. I can't remember. Connex Federal. I don't know. Yeah, Fournier. I believe. I think they're also distributed by Llewellyn in the US. But yeah, lucky you. Fournier. Is it like Garnier? Garnier fruit tea. But yeah, and even better. I keep forgetting this one. Buy from your local bookstore where possible, please. Yes. And some of your local bookstores have online websites that you can order from. If you can't, if you don't want to go in person, whatever. But yeah, yes. You know, if you have those little shops, support those little shops. Wow, bold statements. What? I don't. Uh, let's see. Yeah, it's a company from. Yeah. But they're really coming up with like really cool looking decks recently. Yeah, and most exactly. I want to get in touch with my local new age woo woo shops and like give them all the tea on like all the good decks. You know, like if I see the deck, I'd be like, "That's the light series. Everybody has it. Move it out." Instead, here, Marielle, right there. You know, I'm just kidding. They got to put what's gonna sell as well. But yeah, you see, yeah. See, I don't use revolving credit either. I don't have credit card. You see, there we go. Creepy Bubbles. Hello, Queen of Shovel. Hello, Christy. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it's bold. Not having a credit card is a very anti-capitalist. And my sister's been like trying to get me onto like getting like credit, starting credit and building credit, and I'm like, wait. But now that you're saying, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. No, I'm just gonna save up and buy what I want, you know, and save up through that, you know, and do that, you know. But it is difficult to buy like some necessary things, like I guess like owning a house and buying a car. But I'm like, I feel like that's like the process of buying a house and buying a car, a new one, by the way, at least, is so convoluted and so like so many loops to jump through. I'm like, girl, how much it cost? Here you go. You know, you know. Anyways, good night, sunshiny day. Oh no. Oh no. I don't have a credit card either. Had one at 19 and had my first manic episode. Didn't end well. Well, yeah. You see, and I feel like I also feel like I'm not responsible enough for a credit card myself, you know. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like saving up to buy it out of pocket. Yeah. I'm like a mortgage, but still a mortgage. I don't know what the fuck that is. If I don't know what it is or how it works, if it doesn't make sense clearly to me, I don't want to put my money in it. I don't want to give my money to that, you know? Point blank period. And that's on being frugal, okay? Frugal? Is that the right word? No, more like prudent. That's on being prudent, all right? Yeah, credit card companies thrive on mania, like casinos. Yeah. And when I was thinking about this, I think I also like wanted to be like, you know what? Now I want to watch Confessions of a Shopaholic, which I'm pretty sure isn't like that great of a movie, but I like it. No credit cards are good credit cards. They are bad. My first credit card, I treated the limit as a goal and have been digging my way. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's way. Yeah. No. The only cards that I want to have credit are these. That was no. I don't know. That was no. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Almost done with the 30 years. 30 years. That's a lifetime. That's a generation. That's no. No, thank you. No. No, thank you. No. No. Get a Discover card. You won't discover a single place that accepts it. That's very weird. That's very weird that like, oh, we don't accept that. What? It's money. You don't want money? Like, what? But I also see it like some people just don't get on it. Like I don't have the Cash App or what is it, Square or whatever, Square card. I can't remember what they are. And people like sometimes like, will come in here and be like, oh, do you have this? I'm like, no. I only have PayPal and super chat. Let's see. Yeah, 30 years of being no. This is my idea of a nightmare. Okay, they say stress is the #1 killer. Just reading this, I'm getting stressed. I feel another hemorrhoid coming on right now as I think of this. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. So I think what we've learned is, when possible, buy directly from small bookstore owners that are local to your area. And instead of using credit, use cash or debit. And what else? Don't buy from Amazon. But also be observant as to how we can look at the bigger system of like, what is the issue? Why is there even the knockoffs being created in the first place? Because again, I feel like people need the money. They're going to go to desperate measures to do that, which at that point, it's like, why fake tarot decks? It's like, at that point, just, I don't know, go into art forgery or something. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to be an artist just so I can forge art. Okay. What's the point? What if in like 30 years something happens to that house? A lot can happen in 30 years. I'm sorry. Like, at that point, just pay rent. But also, like, fuck landlords. Like, the stories that I'm hearing, like, How about, okay, here's a bold statement as well. How about, as a human right, I think a place to live should be one of those. I'm sorry, that might be too crazy though, like roof over the head, protection from the elements, like, no, that's too crazy. Am I crazy? No, I don't think everybody deserves that. All right, bye, Katie Flowers. I should be heading off soon too. We've been on for 2 hours, and I think we only spent like 50% of this chat talking about the tarot market. But anyways, let's see. Oh, good for you, Queen of Queen. I want to see. Here's the thing. I know her name is Christy. I know the names of some of these people, but yet I still call them by their account names on here. She's the Queen of Circles. She's not Christy anymore. No, but I always know her Christy Moore. Anyways, but good for you, girl. Good for you. I missed a lot, apparently. You kind of did. I'm not sure if I covered everything, but yeah. I'm going to continue reading that. And I should continue also getting onto compiling this list of decks, because once I'm almost done with the YouTube videos. But if you guys have your top 10, if you guys haven't done a hashtag not top 10. Oh my God. If you guys have done a hashtag only 10 decks video response or post or list, whatever, let me know. I should have opened with that, because that would help a lot with getting more entries and finding them. Because let me tell you, the amount of people that didn't put their deck, the list of the 10 decks in the description, was infuriating. And the amount of people that barely like mentioned the name or like showed the cards, or didn't show the box cover. But moving on. Thank you. It's been scary but exciting. What doesn't scare you isn't worth it. I think that what was I reading? I was reading I read the same sentiment on it gives me the same sentiment as something that I read in, what was it? I have it over there. No. It's in my backpack. No. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. All right, bye, Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. I finally got to reading this. This was a gift from my tarot godmother, Natalia. I think she left chat already. But I started reading this. I'm like, oh my god, yes, thank God. It's like one of those books that just like short, quick to the point, things. But anyways, I think he said, like, I think he has that mental that he makes that point as well. Like, if it doesn't scare you, like, what's the point of doing it, right? He says it somewhere in here, somewhere in like, I can't remember where, but yeah. if it doesn't give you butterflies or diarrhea, it's not worth it. Yeah, it needs to trigger my IBS. Zach, that can be a strategy so people watch the video, not just go and read the description. That's what I was thinking too, but I'm like, because again, they're not, because obviously they're not making this the video being like, oh, somebody that's going to be collecting data is going to really be needing this. So it's like, no, yeah, absolutely, yes, but I'm like, yeah, but yeah. Yeah, Z seems to have some rules. I do. I'm just kidding. No, not. But I mean, like, not everybody has to follow them. Just disappoint me. Let's see. I have a thing for the Knight of Cups. Legit, he gives me he gives me trade that leaves you with a broken heart and debt. I mean, I feel like all knights are kind of like that. Let's see. I need the description boxes on that stuff personally. There we go. You see? Oh, honey, then don't get Tarot of the Spirit or Tarot of the Holy Light or what's another one? I'm trying to think of a few other ones, but yeah, I love the depth sometimes, but to actually put the time to work and read it and not just memorize it. That's the thing when it comes to learning tarot. It's not just about memorization. It's about integration, I think, and utilizing what you read. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, there we go. I hope you all enjoyed this chat. Yeah, we're gonna start logging this. It just came out of me naturally, that outro sequence. Which, by the way, I need to work on an outro, a good outro. But yeah, Tarot of the Holy Light is a heavy one. Yeah, especially the especially the bonus book that comes with the volume 2. It's part 2. It's smaller. Oh my god, but it's so much more. It's like, yeah, it's a lot. But anyways, I had no idea Tarot of the Cat people had a guidebook. Just learned that recently. It was my second tarot deck I ever owned. Maybe I don't need the book. I don't know. It might be it's probably out of print and very difficult. Yeah. Oh, look at her. IA is out here flaunting. Yeah, assimilation, experiencing, learning. Yeah, not just memorizing, because you can't. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. I mean, just put this on a shirt for me, okay? And yeah. I'm just kidding. It's because, again, I think I talked about this in a live chat with Katie Flowers and why we talked about, like, buying about this thing, and I'm like, it's because I buy a lot of books that are really big and have a lot in them, and instead I'm like, instead of buying the book, instead of turning my attention to like smaller books, because sometimes those smaller books have so much to them, like this is very small, this is pretty thin, and the chapters are like this, like, I don't know if you can see that, like that, and then like books like Bell Hooks books on, all about love and the will to change. Those are the books I'm reading right now. Also very thin and straight to the point. But yeah, and it's like I'm getting a lot out of those. I'm like, perfect, and I'm starting to appreciate the smaller books. But again, I still like the big ones, So yeah, okay. Yeah, we're gonna start logging off here. My throat, she hurts. She needs tea. We need to soothe. Okay. uh And yeah, so thank you everyone for stopping by for this chat. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Patreon, support me there because I'm posting some videos on there. I did a year ahead spread, and I did not a spread. I did a year ahead reading and a year ahead and a month ahead reading for January. I tried shuffling this deck, but of course, all the cards just jumped out because I wasn't holding it right. So yeah, and I'll see you all in the next video, whatever that's going to be. Hopefully it'll be this video that I'm working on here with all these damn video responses. So yeah. So yeah, okay. Yeah. Bye everyone.